Could the real face of Jesus have been hiding in plain sight for centuries? I'm not talking about the Shroud of Turin, but something even more intriguing. Let's dive into the mystery of the Veil of Veronica and its connection to the face of Christ. Before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe and help us reach 1 million subscribers in the next 6 months. The story of Veronica's veil is one of the most captivating legends in Christian tradition. As the story goes, during Jesus' painful walk to Calvary, a compassionate woman named Veronica stepped out of the crowd. Seeing Jesus suffering, she offered him her veil to wipe his face, which was covered in sweat, tears, and blood. When Jesus handed the veil back, his face was miraculously imprinted on the cloth. This became known as the Veil of Veronica, a relic that has fascinated believers and sparked debates for centuries. Here's where it gets more interesting. There isn't just one Veil of Veronica. There are actually 2 veils in Italy that claim to show the face of Jesus. One is kept securely in St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City, and it's only shown to the public once a year on the 5th Sunday of Lent. The other is less known but equally intriguing. It's in a small town called Manoppello in Italy's Abruzzo region, displayed in the Basilica Shrine of the Holy Face. Both pilgrims and researchers are drawn to it. You might be wondering, how can there be 2 veils of Veronica? This is just one of the many mysteries surrounding these ancient artifacts. Let's focus on the Manoppello veil because it has some truly unique features. First, the material it's made from is extremely rare. It's called byssus, a fabric made from the threads of a Mediterranean mollusk, which in ancient times was as valuable as gold and reserved for royalty. What's special about this fabric is its optical properties. It's semi-transparent and changes depending on the light. Scientists have studied the Manoppello veil and discovered something amazing. There's no trace of paint, ink, or any pigment on it. The image of the face seems to be part of the fabric, almost as if it were burned or imprinted into the threads. Could this be evidence of a miracle, or is there a scientific explanation? To explore further, we need to bring in another famous relic, the Shroud of Turin. Although we're talking about the Veil of Veronica, the connection is crucial. The Shroud of Turin is a linen cloth with the image of a man believed to be Jesus after his crucifixion. Like the veil, it has been heavily studied and debated. Here's the astonishing part. When researchers compared the face on the Manoppello veil to the face on the Shroud of Turin, they found the 2 images were nearly identical. When superimposed, the faces align almost perfectly. How could 2 separate artifacts, from different places and histories, have such similar images? In 1978, a group of scientists conducted a major study on the Shroud of Turin to figure out how its image was formed. Their findings were shocking. Like the Manoppello veil, they found no trace of paint or any artistic materials. They looked for every possible compound and dye but found nothing. Could this be a miracle? The mystery remains unsolved. Even more puzzling, scientists couldn't find any evidence of brushstrokes or direction in the image. In simple terms, this image wasn't created by a human artist. But that's not all. The image on the shroud contains 3-dimensional information. When scientists inverted the gray areas of the image, they revealed depth and detail that shouldn't be possible in a 2-dimensional picture. Using this information, scientists were able to create a 3D model of the man in the shroud. This level of detail goes far beyond what any medieval artist could have achieved. So, if these images weren't made by human hands, how were they formed? This is where theories and speculation come in. Some researchers believe that the images on both the Shroud of Turin and the Veil of Veronica were created by a burst of energy at the moment of Christ's resurrection. According to this theory, the intense light and heat imprinted Jesus' image onto the fabric, like a photograph. Others suggest more simple explanations, like complex chemical reactions or unknown artistic techniques. However, these ideas don't fully explain all the strange details of the images. What's clear is that these artifacts challenge what we know about history, science, and faith. If the Shroud of Turin and the Veil of Veronica are real, they could be the oldest known images of Jesus Christ. They would provide a direct link to a key moment in history, offering a glimpse of what Jesus might have actually looked like. But the significance goes beyond just historical curiosity. These artifacts raise big questions about the nature of miracles, the limits of science, and the relationship between faith and reason. The idea of the true face of Christ, from the legend of Veronica's Veil, has had a huge impact on Christian art and devotion. In the 12th and 13th centuries, images of Christ's face, based on the veil, became common in Christian art. This image influenced how artists portrayed Jesus for centuries. The devotion to the Holy Face, inspired by these relics, also became an important part of Christian spirituality. Many believers saw contemplating Christ's face as a powerful form of prayer and a way to deepen their faith. As artistic depictions of Jesus evolved over time, they remained similar to the face on the shroud and the veil. It's as if these images acted as a template, guiding artists across cultures and time periods. But what does this mean for our understanding of Jesus and early Christianity? If the Shroud of Turin and the Veil of Veronica are authentic, they would have a huge impact on both history and faith. These relics could provide real evidence of Jesus' existence and crucifixion, supporting the gospel stories. For believers, the possibility of having an actual image of Jesus, created at the moment of his death or resurrection, is deeply moving. Even for non-believers, the scientific mysteries around these artifacts are fascinating. They challenge what we know about ancient technologies and imaging techniques. If human hands didn't create these images, how did they come to be? Finding the answer could revolutionize. One interesting area of research is the unique fabric used in the Manoppello veil. Scientists are studying how this material interacts with light and whether its unusual features could explain the mysterious qualities of the image. Additionally, there's ongoing research into the 3D information in the shroud's image. By mapping this data, researchers hope to create a more accurate representation of the figure in the shroud. As technology advances, who knows what new discoveries will be made? We might soon have answers to some of the questions surrounding these ancient artifacts. Despite all the research, the authenticity of these relics is still debated. Skeptics argue that carbon dating shows the shroud originates from the medieval period, long after Jesus' time. However, some experts suggest that the sample used for the test came from a repaired section of the shroud, not the original fabric. The debate also extends to the Veil of Veronica. Some scholars question the historical evidence for Veronica, as she doesn't appear in the Gospels. Others say Veronica might be a symbolic name derived from vera icon, meaning true image in Latin. These debates show us that the intersection of faith, history, and science is complex. While we may never have definite proof, the search for truth drives ongoing research and fascinating discussions. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, it's hard not to be intrigued by the mysteries of the Veil of Veronica and the Shroud of Turin. These relics have inspired faith, challenged science, and sparked endless debate for centuries. For many, the possibility that we might have an image of Jesus is deeply moving, creating a connection to a pivotal historical moment. For others, the scientific puzzles these artifacts present are fascinating. How were these images created? What can they teach us about ancient technology and history? Each new discovery seems to bring more questions. As we've explored the mysteries of the Veil of Veronica and the Shroud of Turin, we've barely scratched the surface. These relics touch on fundamental human questions about life, death, faith, and reality. It's fascinating how these ancient objects continue to challenge modern science and history. They remind us that even in a time of rapid technological advancement, there are still mysteries we can't fully explain. Moreover, these artifacts highlight the complex relationship between faith and science. Rather than being in conflict, we see how scientific inquiry can deepen our understanding of religious traditions, and how faith can inspire scientific exploration. In the end, the true power of the Veil of Veronica and the Shroud of Turin might not lie in the answers they provide, but in the questions they inspire. If you made it to this part of the video, you might qualify for our members-only area. There you can see everything first, get access to exclusive content, and enjoy priority replies to your comments. You'll also get a cool badge next to your name. Want to learn more? Hit the link on the left of the screen or check out the link in the pinned comment.